All right, today we're here to talk about arguably the most famous painting of all time.
There's probably not a single person who's never seen this image.
Right.
And it's Vincent van Gogh's very famous Starry Night. It's part of this unit because it is a landscape, skyscape, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there's really more about the sky than the land.
So what you're seeing, what you're looking at, a lot of people kind of wonder what this thing in the foreground is. It's actually a large cypress tree. And you'll see these a lot in his work. And so that's what you're seeing in that foreground. And then you see the town below. He actually painted this looking outside of a window. And then, of course, you see just this very
swirly, whirly
sky that just brings your eye in and moves your eye across the page.
You can't help but kind of continue to look at this painting. It's not something you can just glance at quickly and then keep walking. It really draws you in.
Right, and it's in the MoMA in New York City. See it in person is just incredible.
And there's a lot of depth to this. The paint on the canvas, this is an oil painting, so the colors are going to be really, really rich and vibrant, even more so than really pictures show you on the computer screen. And he put so much paint on the canvas. I mean, if you were to stand kind of off to the side and look at this, you would see a whole bunch of raised up globs of paint. The rumor is that some of it is still to this day not fully dry because there's just so much on there.
And you're talking about, this was painted in 1889.
Right.
So
it's had plenty of time.
It's had plenty of time to dry, but it is so thick. And he uses this texture in his brushstrokes, these thick brushstrokes. That's part of the post-impressionist style is
right.
to show these brushstrokes. And so it's something that you can definitely pick out the moment you see a Van Gogh. If you look at any of his other landscapes or even some of his portraits, self-portraits, they're all going to have these same swirly, very defined brushstrokes that you can see and make out, and these kind of unmixed colors. So you can
right.
see, a white right next to a very dark blue, right next to some black. And so
he really wasn't going for realism here. He's not trying to make it look like a photograph. Photography did exist back then, so they're trying to differentiate a little bit. Artists were trying to set themselves apart from photographers.
Right, so because photography was invented, they didn't feel like their paintings had to represent realism anymore. And so it really gave artists, especially ones like Van Gogh, who had a very creative imagination. Some people thought he was insane. He was in an asylum when he did this painting. But it gave them that creative freedom. And so that's
right.
when you really start these, late 1800s is when you really start to see artists open up and you see these bright, intense colors in post-impressionism.
They start getting a little weird with their paintings, which is very refreshing.
Yes.
We can't talk about Starry Night and Van Gogh without mentioning all of the various drama that surrounds him in his life. We know that there was an incident involving his ear. We don't know exactly how much was removed, but apparently he did remove some or all of his ear.
And possibly send it to a woman he was in a
relationship with.
He struggled a lot. We are able to see that he had this different vision, and he tried to show us the way he saw the world, and it's quite beautiful.
So he actually died relatively young. He was only 37 at the time that he passed away. Even in that short amount of time, he still painted over 900 paintings.
Which is amazing because he didn't even start painting until 27.
Right.
So in a matter of 10 years, he left a lot of artwork for us to enjoy.
I mean, we're just so grateful now that we can view his artwork in all these museums. He never sold. I mean, he sold one to his brother. That doesn't really count, really. All these beautiful paintings of nature and the world around him. He had a really unique, interesting perspective that we can appreciate to this day.